Hi, Aletha here with Create Your Future, and thank you so much for joining me on this video. I am grateful to have you here, and I am looking forward to our time together. I want to share with you that Create Your Future is still giving away a free course, How to Find Your Blocks to Manifest Anything Fast. And I have some exciting news. I'm very, very excited about this. I have 2 new courses right now posting, and so all you have to do is click on the link below and you will find my courses, and they are as follows. Living from the Wish Fulfilled is the first course that I've just put out. And it's a how to live from the wish fulfilled. How do you do that? Because you're always manifesting your assumption, and your assumptions are always manifesting. So we're going to talk about how all of this works, how to do it successfully in that course. And then the other course I have is Mastering the Art of Predicting Your Future Without a Crystal Ball. There's no hocus pocus, there's no wand necessary, no magic potions. There is just the law of assumption and how to do that successfully, how to predict your future, how to decide today what I'm going to be experiencing tomorrow. So we're going to talk about that in that course. So check it all out. The links are in the description box below. And if I didn't say it already, I will say it now. Create Your Future is still giving away a free course, How to Find Your Blocks to Manifest Anything Fast. I have other courses available as well. You can check all of that out when you click the link. It's all there. Okay, so let's just talk today about living from the wish fulfilled. I figured that would be so fun to do, and I'll give you some highlights from the course. You are manifesting your assumptions all the time. Right now, in the moment, there is no time. Time does not exist. It's an illusion that we have created for this third dimension that we're all living in. But it's not, but the universe, the quantum field, does not experience past, present, and future. Only present, only the moment. There's only the moment. There's no past and there's no future. It's everything is happening now. And I heard Joe Dispenza talk about it, and he said that it's all the past and the present and the future is all stacked. It's like different dimensions that we move through, like time travel. And you have versions of you in all of those dimensions, and you can choose the one that you want. The future is now. It's always now, which means if you have a desire in your heart right now for something, and it could be anything, a specific person, health, money, career, wanting children, whatever it is, you already have it. If you have the desire, that desire is telling you, that's your proof, that's your sign that it's yours now. People look in the 3D for their proof, for their sign, for their evidence, and they don't need to because it's inside of you. If you have the desire, then that's the sign telling you this is already yours. And all you need to do is connect with it. And how do we do that? We shift into that dimension. How do we shift into that dimension? We do it by frequency. And how do we create the frequency that's going to give us, to match with that version of us that's already living in that desire and experiencing it? And we do that through our elevated emotions that are in alignment with whatever it is our heart's desiring. So if you are thinking that you are wanting to manifest a specific person into your life, all you have to do is not worry about when their text is coming or where they are, what they're doing, or if they still love you. All you need to do is live being already loved by that person, already feeling that feeling now before the evidence shows up in your 3D. Because the truth is you are being loved in another dimension by that person, or you wouldn't have that desire. And so live in that feeling. And that feeling is the elevated emotion. It feels peaceful and joyful and elated and relieved and happy, blissful, though grateful. All of those are elevated emotions. Their frequency. You have an intention for something, right? That's a bunch of words. You know, I intend that I am living in a loving, supportive, committed relationship with my forever person or with my specific person. That's your intention. But if you just say the words without feeling what it feels like to be loved and supported in a committed relationship, that's going nowhere. Words are there. We put them out and they do have power, but it's not, it needs that feeling. That's the frequency, the elevated emotion of feeling loved, of feeling the joy and the bliss of being with the person your forever person that you love. And so you must feel your intention as you say it, and not just rote over and over and over. And there is something to neuroplasticity and all of that, and rewiring your brain by changing the programming by repetition. It's so important, but that repetition needs your feelings. It needs you to connect with those words emotionally. And that's really not that much to ask, is it? When you think about it, you say an intention that I am so happy and grateful. Okay, we're grateful that I am happy and that I am in a loving, supportive relationship with my special person. And you feel those feelings of feeling loved, feeling supported, feeling cherished and needed and chosen. And that the peace and the contentment that comes with the intimacy between you, emotionally, mentally, sexually, in every way, spiritually, all of that, you feel it. You feel it as you say it. And you walk around, not just when you're saying the intention. You can't just walk around when you're saying the intention. Okay, you say the intention, you're done. Now I'll just go back to the old me that's longing, crying, and wondering where they are and why I haven't gotten a text. It's not gonna happen. You just canceled out all your intentional work with the feeling that you had. You must say the intention, or you can do a visualization. You do both. You really need to visualize or use your imagination and have an imaginal scene and say your intention. Also, do that as you go through your day, but take time at night before you fall asleep, and then when you wake up in the morning, go into that world where you are already with them and live there for the moments that you are imagining and feel it vividly as though it's already yours now, because the truth is it is. And feel those feelings that when you get up, then you can't walk around back in the old me that wonders where they are. You've got to get up and stay in the person who you know cognitively already exists. That version of you exists. You stay in that feeling of that I'm already loved. I am already cared. So I don't go back into that place where waiting on a text. And why haven't they sent me a text? Or I'm going to demand, I'm setting intentions for an apology, setting intentions that they come to you first. You're in control of your reality. Sure, if you wanted an apology, that is fine. But really, if you're living from the end of the wish fulfilled, you don't need the apology, and you don't need them to contact you first, because you're already in that beautiful, loving, committed relationship with one another, and you're intimately connected to one another. So why would you have to have, you don't argue. You live in a blissful state all the time. So why would you need an apology? Why would you live from the past where somebody said something that hurt you or did something that hurt you, when in the present you're already with that person? It's like driving a brand new car down the road, and it's brand new and it works perfectly, but you're sitting there worrying about in the past when the other car, it broke down all the time. Will it start? That's foolish. You don't even own that car anymore. You don't own the past anymore. You are in the new car now. You are in the present moment as that person who is loved and supported and cherished and chosen. And so you don't need apologies. You don't need them to come to you first. Get rid of those silly intentions and live as though you are that woman, that man who already has the person you love so deeply connected to you that the two of you are bonded together. There's a unity between you. Feel those feelings, not the other feelings. There's other feelings that come with resentment. The bottom core line of those demanding those things like an apology, or they have to approach me first, really comes out of states of lack and resentment from stuff that took place in the past that, as we said earlier, doesn't even exist, because there is no past and there is no future. There's only now. And now you are chosen. You are supported. You are loved. You are in an intimate, beautiful relationship with the person that you're so in love with, and they're in love with you. And so that's your new story. That's your new self-concept, and that's where you live. And that's where you stay. You do your imaginal scene. You feel all that. You might have a scene of holding hands, and the person is telling you how much they love you, and you're sharing that back to them. And then you get up feeling those feelings, and you go about your day staying in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And you let that old stuff go. All of it. Not just a smidget of it, but all of it. And you can't hold on. If you have a resentment, you've got to let it go. It's a block. It's holding you back. Let it go. I don't care if they hurt you. I honestly don't care. I love you. And I'm human, and I have been hurt many times. I know what it feels like. And I still don't care. Because you can change your world. And if you really want to change your world, what I care about is you staying in the moment, in the state of consciousness that says, I'm loved, cherished, adored, chosen, intimately involved with the person that I want to live with for the rest of my life. I want you to stay there. That's what I care about. And that's what you should care about. And you call things that are not seen as though they are seen. You can't see it yet, but in time, the evidence will show itself. So it takes some faith, right? The power of assumption, you're just assuming it works, right? Because we know it does. We create our reality, so everything that you're experiencing has been from an assumption of yours. And it's been pushed out. And the feeling that went with that assumption is the frequency. And you see, the universe reads or responds to frequency, not our words, but frequency. So that's why it's so important to have an elevated emotion like gratitude, like love, like peace and joy. And that's why I often say, live from the joy of your wish fulfilled. Because when you're living in joy, that's a very good, and joy and gratitude, excellent elevated emotions. The frequency of that person, think about it. In another dimension of you, there's a version of you that is with your specific person. And you're happy and you're blissful and you have all the things your heart's desiring right now. But it's already happening in that dimension. And is that person walking around sad and with tears in their eyes and longing and hurting and resentful? No, that person is blissful and happy. And that's where you need to stay, and that's where you need to live. And that is your evidence. It's a proof that it exists. And all you have to do is live from there. Faith in the power of assumption is so important that no matter what's taking place in your 3D, no matter how unbelievable things might be, or how impossible or how impractical they seem, or how hopeless they seem, or how extravagant it may be, or how irrational your mind tries to tell you, or the 3D is currently showing you, which you, by the way, with an assumption, have created, selected as your experience. If you take your mind off of that and let it go, because it is a reflection of your past thoughts, and guess what? The past doesn't exist. And you live only in that wish fulfilled where you are loved, supported, and needed, and intimately connected to somebody. So each assumption has its corresponding world. There is a version of you out there that is whatever you're assuming. And every assumption has a feeling. That's a frequency. And that frequency, you're matching it. And that's what you're experiencing then in your 3D. So however you see yourself and view yourself is exactly what your 3D is going to reflect to you. So the universe only reflects back the frequency that we project out of us. So ignore your current 3D reality and assume from the wish fulfilled that you already are with that person. And if it's about health, then you assume you're healthy. No matter what kind of pain you might have or limitation you might have right now, or what, don't worry about that. Live in the vision of being healthy. Live in that wish already fulfilled, because there's a version of you that is healthy. There's a version of you that's a millionaire, if that's what your desire is. There's a version of you has more than enough money constantly flowing in that exists. And you live from that joy, from that abundance. So you can tell what your self-concept is by what is showing up in your current 3D reality consistently. So are you, whatever that might be, you can tell what your concept is. And how do we change the concept? Everything I just said. You go into your imagination and with the SP, and you imagine that they're holding your hand and telling you how much they love you and that you're chosen and all those good things, and you feel those feelings and you respond to them with the same stuff back to them. You do the same thing with your health. You may have pain, you may have a physical limitation of some kind, you may feel very frightened about it, but you use your imagination, and in your imagination you see yourself healthy and whole. And you feel the feelings of that. When you get up from imagining, then you keep reminding yourself moment to moment to moment to live from the joy of being well and feeling the feelings. And that imaginal scene becomes like a photograph. So when you are up walking around doing whatever it is you do in your life, you have that mental image of you being healthy. And when you think about it, you see that mental image, which then pictures bring emotion. And then you feel the joy. And what is that? A higher elevated emotion, which is a frequency, right? We have lower elevated emotions or frequencies too. But the higher elevated emotion frequency is what we want to promote, because why? That is going to connect us to the wholeness of that version of you in the quantum field that is healthy and well. And this applies to money. It applies to absolutely everything. No exceptions. There's nothing that it doesn't apply to. So just remind yourself then, as you go through your day, using that image of your mental picture that comes from your imaginal scene, and feeling the feeling of being that person. That's all you gotta do, really. How do we live from the end of the wish fulfilled? We be that person. We become that person emotionally, internally, as within, so without. You have to become it inside of yourself first and feel it emotionally first before it can manifest. And we're doing it all the time, but we're not delineating or specifically choosing what it is that we want to experience. We're just sort of like in happenstance and letting ourselves feel and think whatever. And we say it's okay, because we haven't been taught that it's not. It's not okay to walk around telling everybody all your troubles, because you are expanding them. Because as you tell them, you're feeling them. You're sending out the frequency that I've got all these troubles. And guess what the universe does? It only mirrors back the frequency. It only mirrors back you got troubles. It's going to mirror back more troubles. They may come in different ways, but you're going to have troubles. And I've experienced that. We all have. So you must choose between thinking about the old story of the version that you don't want to experience anymore, and the new story. So you must choose between thinking about the old story or thinking about the new. And it's not just thinking about, there's two words here, of and from. When you are living from the end of the wish fulfilled, it's from, right? You're not thinking of your story like of, I'm with my SP, or thinking of being healthy, or thinking of being a millionaire. No, you're thinking from being healthy. You're thinking from being a millionaire. You're thinking from being loved by your specific person in a beautiful, loving relationship. And so it is so important to think from, and when you think from, you're going to feel those feelings. When you feel those feelings, that's the elevated emotion. That's the frequency that the universe then will respond to. And what's it going to do? It's going to reflect back more love, more abundance, more wellness. And that's how you live from the end of the wish fulfilled. If you have questions, please schedule an appointment with me. I have 3 ways of doing that now. You can select to schedule an hour with me, which if you're a first-time person, I don't think I know from experience and from what the other coaches have also experienced and shared online that it is important to unravel where you are in your story. And we need time for that. So an hour is usually good for the first time around. But then there's another option, that's a half hour. And we can work with that. That's also a good time once we get into to understanding where you are, and I can see your storyline and where you want to go. Then a half hour can be like the shore up, because it's like we're like onions with layer after layer after layer, and because we've had years and years and years of not understanding what self-concept is, and not understanding that the 3D is not the real reality. What's really, when you're imagining, that's the true reality. Seriously, that is the reality. And here's something that's so important. Your brain does not know the difference between something that you have imagined inside of your mind, in your imagination, and what is actually taking place in the current 3D reality. It doesn't know the difference. So if you're imagining something, it's assuming, it's believing, that it's the real true reality. So keep doing that, and those frequencies go out into the universe responds to frequency, and it only mirrors back. It doesn't decide if this is good for you or something else is better for you. No. It only mirrors back what you send out. So send out what you want. Okay, so that's a half an hour is available to you for shoring things up. Now I have a quick fix, which is 20 minutes. And that's for people that I've been working with that suddenly find themselves spiraling, or something happened and it's just thrown them and they really need some extra help, because we all do. I have a coach. If I need help, I connect with that person right away. And because it gets us back on track. And so the quick fix is available to you to get a quick fix of getting back on track and staying in the frequency that that is going to bring you the things you want, because the universe responds to our frequency, higher elevated emotions. And sometimes it's difficult to move out of those lower emotions simply because whatever happened shocked us, and it makes us scared and we're frightened, or whatever it may be. But sometimes it's when we connect with another person, it gets us out of in that tunnel vision, and it opens our mind to the truth. Even though we already know the truth, it moves us. So quick fixes are valuable, and I've had those with clients, and they work perfectly, and they're beautiful. Okay, so we have an hour, we have half hour, and we have a 20-minute, which is a quick fix. Those are available. If you have any questions, talk to me. Schedule an appointment and talk with me, because we can specifically then work on what it is that you want to manifest, and clear out all the blocks and resistance, and change any limiting beliefs that you may have, and move you into your self-concept so that you are in the frequency that aligns with the thing that your heart's desiring, that version of you that already exists, and you move into that and you start experiencing it in your 3D. Blessings.